Hey guys, and welcome to season 2, episode 8 of Couch to the Mind, clearing the mind one couch talk at a time. On today's episode, we'll be going at the topic of behind the clipboard, and here to go through this particular topic with me is Ciera. How's it going?
Yeah, pretty good. How are you?
Oh, very good, thank you. And again, thank you very much for reaching out to me. What, maybe 2 or 3 months ago?
Yeah, around that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you were saying that you had a bit of an interest in what I'm doing right now, which I really appreciate. It means a lot. And since then, we've been going on a few hikes and got a bit of common interest in this sort of area of work in terms of mental health. And
Mm.
obviously, with your occupation being, being a counsellor yourself, it would be awesome to have you on the show. And to finally having the show means a lot. So, yeah, I mean, we'll get into it very shortly, but I'll just
Yep.
briefly outline that if anything is said today, I mean, there's a bit of a discretion warning. Um, I don't, expect everyone to want to listen to everything that's being said because some things might be a bit touchy, but obviously, like if you're interested, then keep listening. And in terms of the reasoning behind the topic name, a lot of people have this stigma that health professionals are only there to take your money, and they don't really want to know your true story of what you may be going through personally. And on the other side as well, we perceive health professionals to have this perfect life where nothing else is kind of bothering them, and they're kind of going streamline and enjoying whatever gets thrown at them, which is not particularly true. And today, Kira will kind of explain that to us, that these two stereotypes and stigmas aren't true. And hopefully through this sharing, it might give you guys a bit more of an understanding and a bit more of a reasoning to reach out to a health professional per se if you're struggling or if you're new to being able to do that. But yeah, that's about it from me. And I'm going to hand over to Kira, and she can kind of start from wherever she wants to in terms of this particular topic, and I'll ask questions along the way.
Yeah, sounds good. All right. I'll just give a little bit of a background of me as well, just
Yep.
what I've studied and that sort of thing. So I did a Bachelor of Criminology in Criminal Justice. And yeah, I started out with a double degree in law and I dropped law because I thought, yeah, it was a bit too much chilling at the desk.
Understandable. I mean, I could
Yeah.
only do 6 months of uni, and how many years is law?
Law with the double degree was 5.5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
pretty
Understandable.
lengthy. Yeah, yeah. So dropped that pretty quickly, and then yeah, I just love criminology, so I kept going with that. And then when we got to our third year, we got to specialize in what we wanted to do. I was really interested in rehabilitation, so I did a really cool uni trip to Thailand and went and learned about the correctional centres there and their justice system, and
Yep.
that really interested me. And also looking into drug rehabilitation, that's an interest of mine as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And where did this passion come from? Is it in terms of you find helping people is the reward that you reap? Like, is that what you're after in terms of your passion?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely enjoy helping people. And also, I definitely believe in rehabilitation within the criminal justice system as well. Previously, it's been quite punitive when you look over the past decades and
Mm.
centuries of just how people were treated when they've done the wrong thing. Um, just to give you just a brief understanding, about 80% of people in custody in Australia eventually get out. And so we need to give them the tools to be able to reintegrate back into the community.
Exactly. And
Mm,
without those tools, who knows, they might, start the cycle again
yeah,
and
that's
end
right.
up in the same place that they were once
Hmm.
in.
Yeah.
So I'm going to fast forward a little bit
Yeah.
from finishing your uni degree,
Hmm.
graduating, and now working in a particular job which revolves around counselling
Yeah.
or needing a counsellor.
Mm.
Where are you now based?
Okay. So at the moment, I work within the criminal justice system and I work within forensic mental health. Yeah. So that basically means people that have been through the criminal justice system and or those who are at risk of reoffending as well. So I touch
Mm.
base with those sorts of people. Yeah. So people with a criminal history or it's their first time as well. Yeah.
Wow. And are there any common traits that you would pick up within people that would come and see you? Like, is it
Mm.
regardless of their ethnicity, age, demographic background? Do you find any patterns that you seem to pick up from all different people that you see?
Yeah, a common thread is definitely people that have faced a lot of hardship in their life, where
Yeah.
they haven't had the best childhood or the best upbringing. That's a very common denominator there. Um, yeah, and also when their lives head south in a way, that's
Mm.
when they sort of fall into making the wrong decisions as well. So it's not that someone immediately um, finds himself doing the wrong thing. There's
Yeah.
things that lead up to it. Yeah.
Yeah. And kind of
Mm.
going back onto the name of the topic,
Yep.
why do you think that people perceive health professionals to only be in it for the money as opposed to kind of getting that deeper connection with the patient that they may be seeing and ultimately help them get through whatever they're getting through?
I think within private practice, it's pretty expensive if you don't have the certain,
Yeah.
yeah, Medicare and that sort of thing. And so a lot of people just sort of see the price and they're like, oh, what the heck's this? But there are other ways around it. So you can actually see your GP and do a mental health care plan and that sort of thing. And yeah, sometimes it can feel quite clinical. So everyone has a different approach in treating people and talking to people. So yeah, sometimes people might
Mm.
feel as though they're not really getting any empathy from them, which can be quite hard. So if someone's just writing on a clipboard for 40 minutes,
Yeah.
then yeah, they might feel quite distant from them as well.
Exactly. And I guess something we probably have to remind ourselves that within any occupation, you might, I'm just going to throw it out there, you might have a bad altercation with a police officer. He might have had a bad night and,
Hmm.
you get pulled over or something and you've done nothing particularly wrong, but he's just doing an RBT
Yep.
and he's just not speaking to you, politely. He's just having a
Mm.
bad night. Sometimes we hold into those sort of things,
Yep,
those
for
sort of
sure.
scenarios,
Hmm.
and then we just believe that everyone in that particular occupation is exactly the same.
Yep. Hmm.
And I do believe that's especially a big problem within the health professional system
Yep.
because it's hard to find a health professional that you can kind of connect to. And I
Hmm.
think without the connection, if you've previously seen people and you haven't received that, then you hold on to bad that bad memory or that bad
Yep.
moment in time
Hmm.
and you believe that no one else that you see is
Yep.
going to be able to gain that connection with you and you feel
Mm.
like no one's going to have that understanding of what you're going through.
Yeah, and it's quite easy to paint people with the same brush as well. If you have a bad experience with one psychologist, for example, you might not want to see another psychologist again and just say, oh, well, they didn't really help me in that sense. An analogy I like to use is speed dating when it comes to health professionals. You need to find the right fit. If it doesn't work for you, you need to move on and find someone else. It does take time. So, from a personal experience, I've seen a few mental health professionals as well. It can take 2 to 3 sessions just breaking the ice and getting to know them as well before you break into the sort of nitty gritty of what you're there to talk about and what your concerns are. So, yeah, if it's not a good fit within the first 2, 3 sessions, then it's best to move on.
So
Yeah.
you've kind of had first-hand experience with that in terms of
Hmm.
not finding the perfect match
Yeah.
and kind of just going on and flicking right or
Yep.
what is it, flicking left or flicking right? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't have Tinder.
Oh, I'm trying to reference Tinder, but
Yeah.
I'm
I
sure
think it's
people will listen.
left.
I'm sure people will understand.
Yeah, I think it's left when you
Um,
discard them.
yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
sure when you find the right health professional, you probably would super like it because you probably don't
Hmm.
want to open up to anyone else.
Yeah, it takes time to bring down that walls as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's why it's the first 2 to 3 sessions as well. Everyone's different in how they sort of arrange their sessions, but
Yep.
that's the experience that I've had and how I've talked to other people about it. It's all about breaking the ice, and that's how I address people as well. Get to know them first, and then actually get to know their goals as well. So when I'm talking to someone, I say, okay, what do you want to work on? What are 3 things that we can work towards short and long term
Yeah.
goals? And I just keep them accountable. So each session, like, how's this short-term goal going? So example, going to the gym or listening to some music and yeah, trying to find those coping strategies and then make sure they keep using them. And then eventually, hopefully, their symptoms decrease as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess it would be pretty full on. Like if you had your first session with a health professional and straight away off the bat they're asking you, I've heard that you're struggling with
Mm,
A, B, and C.
yep.
How do you think you're gonna overcome it? And they'd be like,
Mm,
whoa, like maybe take a
yeah.
step back. I don't even know who you are.
Yeah.
And that's probably when it comes back to what you're saying.
Mm,
Just getting to know who they are, getting to
yep.
know their little traits and how they go about sort of certain things,
Mm,
what their goals in life are, and then probably go into the bigger and better questions.
yeah. Yeah. So you've got to break the ice first. You've got to build that rapport. So it's called a therapeutic alliance. So that's the professional relationship you build between your client and the professional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in terms of what you actually told me before the
Mm,
interview of health professionals having, being perceived to have this perfect life and
yep.
nothing seems to be getting to them. And for
Mm,
me, I actually had that thought as well when I first started seeing counselors and a couple of went to Headspace as well and a few other
okay.
places
Yep.
just to kind of talk through a few things that I was struggling with personally.
Yep.
I always perceived health professionals to have this perfect life and
Mm.
that nothing was getting to them at all. Why do you think people think that?
Oh, well, I think they see them in the professional workplace. They don't see them at home or anything like that. They see them one on one sitting on the couch. And that's when the health professionals are doing their job. They're sort of
Hmm,
controlling the discussion as well. We're not here to talk about ourselves, we're here to talk about what's going on with you.
it's very true.
Yeah. And so, yeah, people put on a front at work and that sort of thing. If you're not having a great day, it's an example for everyone.
Mm,
Yeah, still need to go to work. If you don't have sick leave or anything like that, still have to show up and be professional as well.
mm. And
Yeah.
then putting on that face for work.
Mm,
I mean, obviously, you've got to do it to a professional level.
yeah.
Whether or not you've had an argument with someone at home, you can't really bring that into work. You've got to,
Yeah.
put on your happy face and
Mm,
be in that zone to help people get through whatever they're getting through.
yeah.
Surely you'd have days where you'd need a vent
Oh, yeah, for sure.
because all you're doing is consume, like, all your energy is being consumed by taking on other people's problems.
Yeah, that's right. And I can see up to 12 people a day as well. So
Jeez.
it's a long day. Still really enjoy it though, but I've got really good colleagues that I work with. So I've got people to have a chat with or debrief if there was a
Hmm.
particular session that was quite heavy or if there was something that was quite triggering for me personally. Yeah, I can talk about that as well with them. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Mm.
And for people that may be listening in today or tonight, whenever they may be listening to this episode,
Mm.
if they're on that picket fence of not knowing whether or not they want to go and share what they're going through with a health professional
Yep.
because they're just feeling uncomfortable and
Mm.
sometimes they feel a bit embarrassed,
Yep.
which
Mm.
is understandable,
Yep.
but
Completely normal.
there's no reason to be embarrassed, but
Yeah.
it's about understanding that once you get through it,
Mm.
what would you advise them to do?
Okay, so it sort of depends on what they feel comfortable doing.
Yeah.
Okay, so if they've got a friend, trusted friend that they can talk to, that would be great as well. There's also a lot of services online, so you can actually text Lifeline if you don't prefer to call them. You can email as well. So Beyond Blue has a really good service too. So there's a whole heap of different mental health organisations that have different ways of communicating because they get that people are quite hesitant to pick up the
Mm,
phone and just say, "Oh, these are all my problems," to a random stranger. Yeah, sometimes it's a bit more comfortable just to type it. Yeah, so I think that's really good. We've come quite far with that being available. Um, yeah, if you are on the picket fence, then you feel like you do need to see someone. Yeah, someone that you trust. Definitely talk to them first, or your GP if you don't feel as though you want to share it with your family. Family GP is normally pretty good as well, and you can actually ask the receptionist who actually have the GPs, which GPs have mental health training as well.
well,
Yeah, so you can touch base with them as well. So there's a few different ways. Yeah, and I can send some links to you as well of
thank
just
you.
the different
Thank you. That'd be
people. Yeah,
fantastic.
we can leave it there.
That'd be
Yeah.
awesome. And I think positive about social media, I mean, there are a lot of negatives that I can see, but there
Yeah.
are positives as well. And that
Mm.
because we have the ability to now text
Yeah.
or call and remain anonymous,
Mm.
we have all these, we have all these applications or companies and where you can call them and text them
Yeah.
and feel a bit more comfortable
Mm.
sharing what you may be going through.
Yeah.
I know a few places. I think it's called TIAC. If if I've got it
Mm.
wrong, I will put it down in the comment section.
Yeah.
But they're partners with Trademark, which do tradie mental
Oh,
health
yeah.
shirts
Hmm.
where they've got the floral arms, and pretty much they're like you can text them if you're struggling,
Yeah.
or you can do an over the phone appointment,
Cool. Yep.
which I think is sometimes a better alternative
Mm.
because people are afraid to have a one-on-one discussion in person.
Yeah.
It's
Can be
like
pretty
sometimes
terrifying. Yeah.
I
Mm.
wouldn't go to I wouldn't go completely to this extent, but you watch movies where people are being interrogated and they chuck they put the light on and they're sitting on a chair and everything else is
Yep.
pitch black around them except for
Mm.
themselves
Yep.
and the person sitting on the other side or in front of them.
Mm.
Some people like literally think it's like an interrogation.
Mm.
They're like, "What are you going through?
Yep.
How are you going to get through it? Let's do it." Rather
Mm.
than kind of going through the motion of knowing who they are,
Yeah, exactly.
why they've come into the why they've gone to this deep and dark place,
Mm.
and figuring out a way to kind of work through it.
Yep.
You know.
Mm. Yep.
So,
Yeah, it's pretty intense. The first time going to see someone, you're always quite anxious. That was my first experience as well. Yeah, I
mm,
didn't know what the heck was going to happen. So it was when I was a bit younger, going through high school and that sort of thing. Yeah, I didn't know what the heck was going to happen, and it was yeah, a psychologist that was quite older than me as well, but turned out to be quite cool. So we're just breaking the ice and that sort of thing, and then eventually after session, we just got a little bit deeper each time. But yeah, if you haven't been to seen someone before,
mm,
yeah, you can feel as though it's just question after question after question.
for
So
sure.
yeah, you can let them know, look, I don't feel like talking about that today. Can we talk about something else?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's about you as well. So you get some discretion in what happens as well.
Do you also think that demographic has a part to play in terms of wanting to seek help?
Yeah, for sure. Yep. So I mainly work with males. Sometimes, yeah, they can be pretty apprehensive. They've initially put in the yeah, they've let us know that they want to be seen, can be quite secretive about it. They want to go to a more of a private area and that sort of thing. So we can facilitate that, but it also just depends on what's going on for them as well. We have to be aware of each other's safety too. Um, but yeah, sometimes it takes a while to break the ice, so they can
Mm.
be quite circumstantial. So I ask them a question and they'll go off on a little bit of a tangent and then they'll come back to it and they'll be like, yeah, nah, it's all right. But yeah, you just got to be
Yeah.
quite patient and listen. But yeah, it can be hard when you're trying to bring it back and just saying, okay, let's come back to the question that I asked just before. And then they
Yeah.
just go, oh, again. Yeah. So I get that a lot with older people as well. But yeah, it's, yeah, everyone's different in that way. It could be because they're nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone presents quite differently when they are going through something. Um, but yeah, I have mainly worked with males, so that's what I've gotten. So yeah, it's both old and young can be quite scared.
Yep.
Whereas some people just tell you exactly how it is. It just depends on their personality as well. Yeah.
For sure.
Mm.
Everyone reacts to certain things in different ways.
Yeah.
And like you said, it might come down to their personality, it might come down to what they've experienced in their own life,
Yeah.
how they've been shown to react to certain situations and whatnot.
Mm.
Everyone reacts differently. So I
Yeah.
guess the biggest thing what you were saying is having the patience
Yeah.
and just kind of listening to whatever they're going through. Like if they've got a rant to
Yeah.
get to the point of opening up and
Mm.
sharing stuff,
Yeah.
I guess you just got to get to that stage, eh?
Yeah, and then cutting people off, that's when they sort of, yeah, they feel as though, oh, they're just shutting me down.
Yeah.
What's the point of talking to these people? And that's what helps the stigma grow about mental health as well. If you've got people that are just trying to get straight to the questions, don't really care about what's going on, not willing to listen to the
Yeah.
story, that's when people turn away and they said, well, I tried, but I just kept getting shut down. And you can actually get some of your questions answered if you are uh,
Listening.
actively listening as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if they start talking about something else that you wanted to ask a question about, you're like, oh, cool, that's one ticked off. And then, yeah, just sort of figure it out from there.
Because I guess sometimes if you go on a rant,
Mm,
initially you may not particularly want to answer something,
yeah.
but once you go into the rant and you get into that motion,
Hmm.
you subconsciously answer the question without even knowing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then after the rant's over, you're like, oh, there you go. So
Yeah.
it actually wasn't even that bad answer in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. Just a bit more, yeah, long winded, but that's okay. Yeah.
I guess
Mm,
positivity is key.
yep.
People kind of forget that, and from my personal experience, when I've had a bad experience,
Mm,
it hasn't ended on a positive note, and that's
yep.
when, for myself, when I was going through a bit of anxiety,
Yep.
that's when all my anxieties would be brought up
Mm,
because we've spoken about it,
yep.
we've acknowledged when I'm going through, and it was kind of like,
Mm,
oh, see you later, I'll see you next session,
yeah.
rather than ending on a positive note. So
Mm,
I think positivity is key when
yeah.
you're talking about
Deep stuff.
deep
Yep.
stuff.
Mm,
Otherwise, you come out like it's like watching a scary movie, right?
yeah. Oh,
If I watch a scary movie at night,
yeah.
the first thing I'll say to myself is, "Geez, like how am I going to go to sleep like in pitch black?
Yep.
Like I've got to keep a night light on or something,
Mm,
like a bit of a wuss." But That's the
No,
only
fine. I'm the
that's
same.
that's the only way I'm gonna be able to get to sleep.
Yeah.
And you keep thinking that. But if you watch a scary movie and then you chuck on like, I don't know, buddy, Cartoon Network or
Yeah.
something
Something
kid
light.
related or something
Yeah, yeah.
light or something where you can just have a laugh at or watch a bit
Mm,
of YouTube or
yeah.
I don't know, play Jenga or just change your mind a little bit
Yeah.
on what you were going through,
Mm,
then it makes it a lot easier. And I think
yeah.
in terms of counseling,
Mm,
if you can change how people are thinking toward the end,
yeah.
then they're not coming out of the session thinking about all these deep and dark questions
Yeah.
rather than they think, oh look, I can maybe like build and get
Mm,
through this tough time. But hey, we ended on the note of I'm gonna go to the gym tonight and
yeah.
I've planned to reach a certain goal. So that's all I'm gonna be
Mm,
focusing on.
yeah.
So I think
Mm,
keeping light of very dark situations and topics
yeah.
is so key.
Mm, yeah. And goal setting's a big thing for me as well. Yeah. So I always go through the goals with everyone that I talk to as well. Even though they're not quite sure what the goals are, then we slowly start to work towards something
Yep.
and then eventually build on that, which is really cool when you see them progress. Yeah. So
So it must be so rewarding.
yeah, yeah. And I had, yeah, a really good session the other day and that felt really good. Um, yeah, just being able to listen and then give them
Yeah.
a few tips as well, just saying, look, you're doing really well, but yeah, have a crack at this. So yeah, that's really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Is there anything else you may potentially want to touch base on that you think people can potentially get relevance out of, or anything that you may have
Hmm.
gone through yourself that you feel like as if you want to get off your chest?
Yeah, we can go back to talking about mental health professionals having a perfect life.
Go for it.
Yeah, we'll go for that. Yeah, last year it was really exciting when I got the job and everything like that, but a
Yeah.
few things happened during the year as well. So COVID definitely affected my workplace, and that was pretty difficult. I didn't get to see certain people and
Yeah.
that sort of thing. And yeah, yeah, like to stay on top of things and that sort of thing. So that was quite stressful as well, just not knowing how they're going and all that sort of thing. So yeah, it was a full lockdown for 12 days. So yeah, and then just catching up. It did
Mm.
take a while. We eventually got there, which was good. And then also on the outside as well. So there's always stuff happening for people after work and that sort of thing. Maybe their home life isn't as good and that sort of thing. So maybe they really dedicate themselves to work, and then when they come home, yeah, things aren't as great. Yeah, I lost two people quite recently that were
Yeah.
very
Sorry to
special
hear
to
that.
me. Yeah, so that was my nan and my uncle Pat. Both died of head and neck cancer recently within 10 months of each other. So that was, yeah, one of the most difficult things I've faced recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
for yourself, the idea of having the perfect life as a health professional, how did
Yeah.
you manage to kind of overcome these scenarios?
Yeah, it's just being open with my work colleagues as
Yeah.
well, just saying, look, I'm not feeling 100%. So we sort of give each other, give ourselves ratings at the beginning of the day.
Mm.
So, yeah, just like our management and that sort of thing come in and check in and say, oh, how's everyone going?
Yeah.
What's your scale today? And yeah, if I was feeling quite bad. So yeah, I'd just touch base with them. I can always just chuck them an email and then they just call me and just say, yeah, come on in
That's so
and that
good.
sort of thing. Yeah, and so we're able to debrief about that, which is really cool.
No, it's so
Yeah,
good that you can acknowledge that when you may be going through something and you know that you're not feeling yourself,
yeah,
that you're able to push yourself out there and seek for help. And I
yeah,
think the more that people are able to do that, the more that they'll continue to feel better and better and better.
yeah,
It might not change the situation that's at hand,
yeah.
but ultimately the healing process will start. And
Mm,
whether it be 6 or 7 months down the track, it will be so much better than what it was before you even started
yeah.
doing something about it.
Mm, yeah. And asking for help, that was really difficult for me as
Yeah.
well. So from the start of high school and that sort of thing, yeah, I was quite reserved
Yep.
as well. And I went through my own anxieties and that sort of thing as well. Um, and yeah, just slowly building that up. It's like a muscle asking for help. So
Mm.
you've got to train it to make it stronger. And once you eventually get into the routine of asking for help when you need it, yeah, it's so much easier. You're able to break that straight away and just say, look, check in with yourself. No, I'm not traveling too well. All right, I'll just chuck old mate an email and then I'll go have a chat about it. Hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for today,
that's okay.
for what you've shared with us in terms of being so open about these perceptions on health professionals and
Mm.
versus reality, like a bit of a reality check.
Yep.
You know, but you yourself being a counselor,
Mm.
having being sitting in the footsteps of people's perception.
Yep.
Although, like I said, not everyone's going to have a fantastic experience,
Mm. Yeah, that's
and some people unfortunately hold on to that experience. But I think
true. Yeah.
if you can get yourself out there and
Mm.
potentially try and see someone else
Yep.
that might be, like
Mm.
you said, speed dating your perfect match,
Yep. Yep. Mm.
then you might feel more comfortable sharing stuff.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But yeah,
Mm.
thanks again for sharing what you've shared today in
No
terms of
worries.
yourself, what you've been through,
Mm.
your occupation being a counselor.
Yep.
And I think what you've shared today will certainly help people um, second guess their idea on health professionals. I
Mm.
apologize if it's negative, but I
That's all right.
hope through this, it also makes them feel comfortable going
Mm.
and seeking help if they need to seek help.
Yep. Awesome.
But
No, thank you for having me.
that's all right, pleasure. But guys, this has been episode 8 of season 2, Couch in the Mind, clearing the mind one couch talk at a time. And the topic I went over today with Ciera was behind the clipboard. And as always, guys, if you want to reach out to me, just hit me up on the Couch in the Mind Facebook page. I don't mind if you want to have a coffee or a chat. I'm always here. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll speak to you guys soon.